All right. Hey, good morning, Mike. How are you today?
Well, after you dissing me, calling this would you call it the ignorant intro?
I was
I'm
asking
feeling,
you to do the ignorant intro, and just to set the bar pretty low, but you're like, no, no, I'm not going to do that. This is your subject. Your ball of wax. You melt in it.
see, now you've been getting all that vitamin D down there in Florida,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
hanging out with all those youngsters. You're probably on more rides than they are at Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been, riding a sugar high is what I've been doing just to keep up with the 8, 10, and 12-year-olds. We were out till, 9 o'clock last night, which in parent time actually translates to 1 a.m., and especially with the kids. And I'm like, I am tired. I just want to go back. Please make this end.
And if we have any technical difficulties, it's all due to what, 6 kids and how many adults
Yeah. Yes.
simultaneously streaming videos.
Absolutely. It was hysterical. I was telling Mike before the show that uh everything was going well when we were recording the last one, and then all of a sudden, like, you could see the bandwidth just drop off the face of the cliff. I was like, oh, what is going on? And I'm like, oh no, the kids are up. The kids are up. They're immediately starting to stream. We have like 14 people in this big house of that we're all staying at, so it's a lot of fun. But when everybody starts to wake up, because whoop, the bandwidth drops, and then everybody's streaming, and so
So we're
that's
playing
the
beat the clock, right?
yeah,
Just
we
wondering.
are. Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited about this one. This is a super super fun one for me, and this all revolves around how you and your small business, whatever you've got, um, give it a little bit of limitations, but give it a little bit of grace. But the fact is, how can you add 100K to your business? What areas can we focus on that are going to give you a quick win that is going to be sustainable and going to add either 100K to your top end or 100K to your bottom end? But these are, I isolated down 5 areas that'll work, and just something that's kind of universal, really. Although I'm focusing in on hardware, retail, independent retail, that type of thing. But this will go for just about any small business. So I'm kind of excited to share this with you, and hopefully you'll won't fall asleep on me.
Well, the interesting thing is if it's 5 areas that you're going to talk about 100,000, so each one's worth 20,000. So if you only have time to watch maybe 5-10 minutes, that's $40,000 of revenue. If you want to watch the whole thing, it's 100. So I really like this. I like the way you're structuring this.
Right, right. Yeah. And so what we want to do is, we don't want to focus on just the top end or just the bottom end, because that's going to give us tunnel vision. We want to focus on just different areas. And once you start doing some of these, you're going to be like, oh man, that comes a lot more natural to me. Do that one first. That's okay. Just get momentum. That is the key on this. So the just to give a preview, the first one is going to be about focus on strengthening your team. One thing you can, in each of these things, are meant to be easy to implement, that you can implement within a week. You won't be able to perfect it, but you'll be able to implement it. And that's the key. So the first will be strengthening your team. The second will be about yourself. Encourage yourself on how you can do that. Number 3 will be developing a measurement and an accountability practice. And number 4, we'll focus on, hey, grab that low-hanging fun fruit. And the 5th one, if we get to it, will be changing your method of outreach, because I think a lot of us have a warped opinion of that, or way of doing that. So you have any questions? You ready to get into it? Or?
No, let's do this. I'm excited about this. You and I kid around a lot, but
Yeah.
what I like is this plays up on a lot of the things we've talked about, but it
Yeah.
pulls them all together and says, hey, do these 5 things, and you can have it. And I don't care how large your business is, Brian, $100,000 is a significant improvement. to your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to take that any
Absolutely.
day.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. So before we get into it, I want you to treat this not as a Ruth's Chris restaurant. I want you to treat this as a cheap Chinese buffet. If you don't like it, leave it over there for somebody else under the heat lamps and grab something else. Okay. So each of these points, look at it as my cheap Chinese buffet.
I'm in.
Okay. All right. So the first one is focused on strengthening your team. And number one is to implement what I call mound visits, daily mound visits. And this is where you huddle the team together, your team of front end people that are going to need the encouragement, going to need the accountability, and you do two things. Number one, you get them together for no more than 3 to 5 minutes. This isn't a monologue, a huge dissertation that you're going to be talking about the history of the company and this and that. No, you want to do two things. Number one, remind them of why we're here today, what we're doing. That's it. What our motivating statement is, what our mission statement is. If you don't have it, just tell them what you stand for and what you're passionate about, because that really is the same thing. Number two, what your daily goals are. That's it. So number one, what you're here for. Number two, what you're here to do. And
I love it.
really, really, that is what you want to do. And if you start doing that daily, they're going to realize, wow, this is great. We're in it together. This isn't just a I'm on my own type of thing with no accountability, and people like that. They really, really like that. So that when we started doing that, it made a huge, huge difference in revenue, in a bottom line results. Fantastic.
Well, and I think it makes them feel like a team, right? Because if you come in, punch the clock, whatever, however you keep track of time, and they all start to wander around the store getting ready for the store to open or for the shifts to start, they feel like they're on their own. But you bring them together and say, hey, what are we about, right? What's our focus? What's our primary aim? And then, hey, remember, here's our goals, again, which are tied to longer term goals for the business. And then boom, it's like a quick, like you see in sports, right? That quick huddle before the game starts.
Yeah. It is so important too. I would say that yes, there's two important aspects, and those are the primary aspects. Probably a third one, if you can get in the habit of it, is to assign those daily tasks or those daily goals to them. Okay, now, Billy, you remember your primary job is to greet every person, or to make sure you walk them to the aisle, or to make sure they fill in the blank, so that they get it becomes personalized for them and not just something that they can kind of mentally dismiss. So,
well, especially when you're rotating your team, right? And you're getting them to do different types of things within the organization, setting that stage for, remember today you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. And they all see how those individual roles play together for the day.
Yeah. And you can play with this, but I'm just saying that you can add different aspects to it. But the number one, those two things you have to do that are foundational. Number one, tell them why we're here, and overall, our overall goal, what we want to accomplish with every person, and then the specific goals that we have for that day, which should go together, and they should basically, strengthen each other. So that's number one, strengthen the team. Number two is probably the area that is going to be the absolute toughest for a small business owner, any owner, executive, CEO, and maybe you can chime in on this too. I know it was for me. It's that time to encourage and build up yourself. And I call it the stare at the stars moment. because from a town of 500 in New York, when I would go on outside in the middle of winter and it'd be, I don't know, 10, -10, whatever, and look up at the stars, just bundle up and stay out there for 15 minutes. That really gave me a time to focus and to just encourage myself. And I really ended up using those times, and they became really foundational for my mental health, really. And I hate to say that because that terminology is thrown around so much. You can take a walk and do mental health. Here's what I'm going to say. And I'm not going to be too down on it, but take 2 hours if you can. Start off with 30 minutes, then get up to 1 hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max. Try to do it a week and just reflect. And when I say reflect, don't do it in a negative way. Just ask, man, what went well? Great. What did not go well? What do I want to accomplish? And what am I fearful of? Just those 4 things can make a huge, huge difference. And I'm going to tell you, in today's society, we're joking around about the streaming, the cell phone, everything like that. It's almost impossible to have quiet moments. And when you start doing that, do not be upset or worried when your heart starts to race, because your body's going to be thrown into a little bit of a shock. Like, whoa, where's the input? So that's number 2.
Yeah. I like that a lot. When you start, and I'm going to go back to one quick. We talked about this. Engagement is a huge issue. So you found, the foundation of this framework today is starting with the team. When your team understands what they're responsible for and they're aligned with what the business is trying to do, it's much easier for you to take that time, like you said. You need to take that time, and it's the old 80-20, right? We're talking about a small percentage of your time every day, but if you can carve out, like you said, start with 30 minutes and ask those questions. And what I like is it's not a bunch of what's going wrong, right?
No.
It's a handful of questions that get at everything that's going on with the business. And it's almost like, I don't know if you've ever done meditation, or just sitting silently. You're right, it all comes rushing at you.
Yeah.
But when you do this over time, and I'm telling you what, after a week or 2 of doing this, if you miss a day, you're going to feel it. It's like you not going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
Which
you're
I
going to
have.
feel it.
Full confession, I haven't been there for 2 days now. Yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to make a note of that on my calendar because, Brian, I'm a little worried. Your accountability partner is asking questions here, dude.
I know. It's awful. Yeah, you're so right. And so what I'm talking about is, even if you do, if we do this, you can do it daily. Like you said, I'm saying just to do this once a week, just to carve out that time once a week. Now, if you're going to do it daily, I do daily quiet times, which are just absolutely foundational for me to help out and to refocus. And usually that'll go from anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes. And, but that's daily for me. And some people can't do that or don't want to do that yet. That's okay. So carve out just a little bit of a bigger amount of time. This isn't meant to be a burden for you.
So this reminds me of the weekly review, Brian, like you said, it's a lot of these things are almost like cliches. But if you took that time, like you said, once a week to do that, then if you do daily just for shorter periods of time, you're kind of thinking about the things that you thought about in that bigger space of time that you spent. And doing that in a weekly chunk is a really good idea, because it grounds you then, hey, here's what the next week looks like. Again, we're flexible, right? Here's how we'd like to see things go. It may not go that way, but if you don't take your time, and I understand what you're saying about, the mental health. I think it's, how do you have this, work-life balance, have the focus you need to really get at how can you add value to the business. If you're one of the people talking to customers every day, doing all the work that your team does, right? You're not going to grow your business. It's impossible to grow your business understanding what they're doing and then stepping back and spending time, like you said, once a week and thinking about the bigger picture, and about yourself, is critical. And yeah, so I'm loving how you're building this foundation. So start with the team,
Yeah.
then look at yourself.
Yeah. And I will say, even like with the work-life balance, I would just say it as life. Life, in that sense. That's the way I try to look at it. Because when I feel like balance, I feel like I'm always at a balance one way or the other. But I think of it, for me, it's easier to think of it this way. I have been put on this earth by God to make an impact. So have you, so is everybody else. Where are you making that impact? So there's certain times where you can make more of an impact in your business, other times more in your family, other times more in your community, but it should never be all one way and all another. And that I found is just nicer, because it's all that's your world. That's your world that you have been put here to make an impact on. So, and yeah, it may be, quote, out of balance, some people may say, but at the same time, just know that, okay, you have a reason for impacting these 3 areas. Don't forget them. Don't neglect one, which we can do as small business owners very easily. You've seen that, and I have.
And using frameworks like this, Brian, allows you and gives you the time to be able to focus on those other things, right? Because again, we've talked about small business owners. If you live and breathe your business, all you do is think about it at home. You're distracted all the time. You wake up with night sweats. We're not therapists here. Maybe we're going to have to put a twist on that. I think we are therapists in some regard, Brian.
I know you're a therapist to me, Mike. So thank you.
All right. So
that's number 2. And really what we want to do is give you permission, basically, to, hey, take this time to yourself and know that it's necessary for strengthening your business and your family and yourself. So it's necessary. So do it. Number 3, scorecards. This is a great way to develop, measure, and mutual accountability with your team, yourself, your leadership. And it's absolutely necessary. So scorecards, they're basically your weekly or monthly evaluations. And what you're going to do, we touched on this a little bit earlier, a few episodes back, but simple. List the top 5 or more, but keep it right around 5 most important aspects for your team. Keep them clear, easy to measure, and challenging, but achievable. Basically, your KPIs. Put them down. Just start measuring them and communicating them on a daily basis. You can put that into your mound visits, so to speak. Example, some people may say, well, what am I going to put on a scorecard? Very simple. Areas that you feel are imperative for the success of your business, that others are having, that others can have an impact on. So, for instance, for hardware retailers, like I know, it would be your inventory turnover, or your average ticket sale, or number of rings that we talked about, number of rings before a phone is picked up, or, how many people are signed up onto your loyalty program, things like that. So and have some fun with it. If you've only got 2, only do 2. That's fine. And then ask your team. So, but that is key for establishing accountability and measurability. And we know, Mike, when it's able to be measured, it's able to be improved upon. So that's one of your mantras.
And what I like is the examples you gave, Brian. One, they're tied back to what's the primary aim, right? We talked about the one pager. What are those financial goals? You anchored this with, if you do these 5 things, right, we can impact your income statement, top line, bottom line by 100,000. But then you start talking through different areas. So your inventory turns, that's not showing up on your top line. It could if you don't have enough inventory. However, by turning your inventory and having a healthy inventory, meaning you've got the right products and not the wrong products, you have a huge impact on your expenses. So what's cool is you're now saying, hey, there's different parts of my income statement that I can impact by using these KPIs, these metrics, and then we're working towards those. So it's a really balanced approach to improving your business.
Yeah, and there is, let me tell you, there's multiple ways for each of these measurements to improve on your business. So don't necessarily fall into what everybody else is saying. Let me give you an example. Inventory turns. You want your inventory turning and burning. Keep that thing going, blah, 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 blah. If your inventory is turning too much, it means that probably you're selling out of the essential items. Also, that's number one. So you're giving away sales, quite possibly. Number two is you're probably giving away margin. And what I mean by that is, for instance, if you're turning your inventory over too much, you can find out what areas are turning over. And usually what we did was we found, wow, we can buy in bulk, save an extra 10%, have a little bit lower inventory turn, but our gross profit margin jumps through the roof on the most essential items, most popular items. So my point is, don't always go with what everybody else says to do. Think about it and have some fun with it. That's a Maverick part of me coming out. So anyways, I beat that one to death.
Let's not go down the inventory optimization path, because I could spend 5 hours with you on that subject alone.
Listen, I'm not comfortable enough in this lawn chair here. So hey, listen, and for those of you who are listening on the podcast rather than watching, I had to throw on a nice formal fisherman sweatshirt here. You know, this nice breathable one, so that I'd cover up my tank top. That's me getting formal for a podcast. Meanwhile, there you are in your beautiful collared shirt, pressed
nice
and
button-up
starched
shirt. Yes.
Okay. Do we want to go on, or what are your opinions on this?
No, I think this lines up well. A few key takeaways. Make sure they line up. Those metrics need to line up with your one pager, your primary aim in those financial goals that you have. Keep them to a small number, right? If you have 57 KPIs, these are not key performance indicators anymore, right? It's a bunch of noise. And then the third thing I like is talking about process metrics versus outcome. So outcome would be you could be revenue per day. So the process is, like you talked about at the beginning, is what is your team doing throughout the day? How are they engaging with the customers? How can we put a number around, contact points, whatever that is, that's part of the process that then drives the outcome, which is, X amount of revenue per day, whatever those things are. So what I like, again, Brian, is this is a nice summarization of a lot of the conversations we've had over the last number of months. And just makes this a very easy approach to doing this, make it very lightweight and something you can start immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I say, if your business is doing over $1 million in revenue a year, this is an easy 100K. So, I mean, we're talking about, like you said, 20,000 per area. That breaks down to, that's, 1,500, 1,600 a month, a change. So you're gonna see some huge changes here. So don't be surprised when you see this. You're like, wait a second, I'm just making this first change. Yeah, you're gonna really enjoy this. So number 4 is, this is the fun one. It's the grab the low hanging fun fruit, and this deals with your personality more than anything. But pick 2 to 3 nitty gritty areas or projects to focus on that you can leverage for immediate results. So part of this is mental and part of this is quick ROI. So part of it's mental to get moving, and sometimes it's hard to get the team moving. You got 6 people, 8 people, 10 people, 30 people that you have to try to get all moving and rowing in the same direction. That can be extremely frustrating. That's why I would say to Pick 2 to 3 things that you personally can do and immediately make a change on to keep you motivated, encouraged, and staying the course while you're getting them going on that. Let's see. 2 goals on this: efficiency and optimization. You can focus on those areas. Example, optimization of product offerings, gross profit margin reevaluation, maybe a new product offering by bundling products. But start by asking yourself, what areas are, number 1, most important for my bottom line? Or number 2, what areas have I not measured in the last 6 to 12 months? So what areas are most important that I'm aware of? And what areas have I really kind of ignored that maybe it's important, maybe they're not, but it's that dark, mysterious area in the business. And we all have those. And those are the areas that keep us up at night. I know. I mean, it did with me. I was like, oh man, I got to keep a better eye on this area,
Right. How do you engage with the team? Do you see this a conversation with the team to talk about these areas, or what do you think?
No, this is a hobby area. This is a hobby area. So this is an area where it's you're in your own little tool shed. You're in your own little garage, and you're just tinkering, and you're enjoying tinkering. So the goal being, some people love to get into the numbers and dig into it. They're not people persons, peoples. How would you say that? People persons. People. Anyways, people. So this balances that. If working and leading your team is more vexing for you and not something that you really like doing, this is a lovely balance for that. If you love leading your team, but you hate digging into the numbers, this is a nice little accountability aspect for you.
Gotcha.
So,
is this something you share with the team? I mean, or do you see this, you just want to,
you can
kind of keep this? Yeah,
you can, just to let them know that, hey, just to let you know, I am not just handing out garbage for you guys to do and cracking the whip. No, these are the projects that I'm working on myself, and I'd love to have your love to have your input on it. So you can do that too. I might wait a little bit on that before you start communicating that with them. But this for the most part is your little projects, your little
I like that,
home ones. So yep. What else you got there?
That's perfect.
It's okay.
I think and I think seeing the owner spending less time on the floor, still engaged right away in the morning, having those conversations, getting alignment, and then doing things that the owner should be doing. And to your point, some of those things are things you normally wouldn't touch, right? And you're saying, hey, I want to go and I want to start working on this. I've always said this when I work with clients: once you start making changes yourself, your team will see it. They're going to see it in your demeanor. They're going to see it in how you carry yourself. And then at some point, that maybe they could say, hey, I just want to share this with you. I've started working on this area of the business, which is kind of cool because you may have some traction on it already. But you can say, I'm doing this, which again aligns with our primary aim, with our one pager. But these are things that I feel like, now that the team is focused and able to do things on a day-to-day basis because we plan it out, now I can start to do some higher level planning, or just cleaning up some things that I haven't had to be able to attend to, over the past years or months. Yeah.
And after they get used to, those mound visits and then the scorecards and things like that, you can tell them, hey, I want to let you know you guys are doing a great job. Thank you so much for doing this aspect of it, because this is what it has allowed me to do on my end. And then you could share the 2 or 3 nitty gritty projects that you have that you're able to accomplish because they are being more efficient and proactive on the front lines. So, yeah, I love it. So yeah, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, we're 30 minutes in. I want to, just because these first 4 are really good, meaty. And I think one of the things that we've talked about is consistency. If you don't see yourself doing these daily meetings consistently, you're not ready to do that. I would take a pause and think about that, because once you start to roll these out, you really want to have that consistency with your team, because they're going to believe in it. They're not going to think it's like the flavor of the month or something like that. So
Yeah.
the ability to start to roll these out, like you said, over time, but this can happen pretty quickly. But then the consistency of, we're going to do this. We want to do this every day or every week, to build up that muscle. And this is the way we're going to run the business going forward. We as a
Yeah.
team, this is the way we're going to do this.
Yeah. So I had you reminded me of something back. Oof, man, pretty sad. It was probably 35 years ago that I heard this, and a old time, old school missionary pastor from spent most of his time in Papua New Guinea, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
I mean, way there. And he said, his point was, he was sharing, and he goes, spending time with God needs to be of bathroom necessity. If it has to be so important to you that it's like, well, I have to go to the bathroom, have to do it now. So I guess my point, when you're talking about that, look at the mound visits as bathroom necessity. It has to be done. You have to do it. Just like you're unlocking the doors for your business. I know it's like, but when you set it up, well, listen, I may not be doing it right, but I still have to do it. That's how we're doing our podcast, actually, right?
Exactly.
Didn't we say that when we're starting it out? We're like, hey, it doesn't matter if anybody's going to listen, but we just have to get doing it and get in the mode of it. And that's what I really think is important. And you touched on it perfectly. Just get doing it. Just get doing it.
And with the mound visits, I found that if you have if you're leading it, or you have like a team lead, over time, let your team members all lead those meetings.
Yeah.
Because whenever because if you're not there, or the team lead's not there, then guess what? The meeting doesn't happen. Well, if everybody's
Fantastic.
comfortable doing it, no matter who's there, if it's 8 o'clock, and by the way, start them on time. If it's 8 o'clock, start having the conversation. And over time, anyone on the team can have the meeting, and then you'll guarantee success. Versus, well, Brian's not here, I guess we're not going to have the meeting. It's like in college, right? You waited 10 minutes, the professor didn't show up, you'd bolt. No,
did you wait 10 minutes?
No, I was 5 minutes and out.
Actually,
I never showed up.
usually I was walking in with the professor,
Oh, sure.
late, brown nosing Brian.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say that, but
I know. I saw that.
It.
I saw that twinkle in your eye. I was like, I figured I'd head you off at the pass, cut you off at the knees.
I had an opening. I had an opening, dude.
And I cut right in front of you. That's great. That's great. Oh, what else? I love that impact. I love that input on the mound visits, and just in general of, hey, you got to do it. Just do those. Get those habitualized. Yeah. What else you got?
You want to move on to number 5, man? Because we're rocking and rolling here.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. So the first 4 were all internal focused. Some of them really internal, because inside of you. But this last one is all externally focused. And it is stop marketing. Stop it. Get done with it. We're being inundated with all this stupid garbage, especially small businesses, about how we need to market to these people, this segment, this demographic, and everything like that, and get them in to our business and do whatever is it take to increase our sales from this area. And we're given all of these basically, it's like, these easy, quick answers that are going to immediately, oh yeah, you do this phrase and you'll jump up your sales and this and that. My point is to stop marketing and start nurturing. As a small business owner, you have a pulse, and you have on the local community and your local audience, and you have a special ability and a special positioning to nurture them as not just business owners, but as neighbors, as friends, and do that. Use that position that big businesses cannot do. They can only market. you can nurture them. And what I mean by that specifically, because you might be like, well, what the heck are you talking about nurturing? I'm talking about like not only encouraging them and reminding them that you're there and that type of thing, but actually building up, giving them information that is going to help them, that has to do with you. So it's not just about selling them or discounting your products. Stop discounting your products 10, 20% to get them in the door. That most of the time that's not necessary and you're giving away margin. Start showing them how important it is to know this, whether we want to get it on Amazon or not. Givers get. So the more you can give information and authority, the more you're going to get those customers in the door, in your restaurant, in your hardware aisles, that type of thing.
You know, I got to tell you, I saw it, I think it was on Facebook yesterday, had a ad pop up, and this was really good. It was a contractor, and he showed a map of the local area, and there were 2 dates where there were significant storms that rolled through with hail. And he said, just a reminder, these areas, and he had them highlighted like a heat map of where there was known significant hail damage. And he said, if you've not had a chance to have your roof inspected, you know, call somebody, talk to your insurance company and have them come and take a look, because you may have damage. And there's a certain period of time you have, you know, to report that damage, because that's, you know, at some point they're going to say, we don't know when that happened.
Right.
So to your point, that's really saying, we know this happened. This is what we do. But large companies, you know, aren't going to do that. You know, they can't spend that time really pinpointing where. But you're talking about your neighbors, to your point, Brian, right? This is right in my backyard. This is like a 20-mile radius. And it literally said, hey, if you're in one of these zones, you know, give us a holler, give somebody a call, not just us, but we're just telling you, be aware that this happened. Be aware that, you know, the time's clicking or ticking for you to, you'll put in a claim, and, you know, we're here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, so that has to do with our messaging, which we talked about, which you and I are familiar with Donald Miller and his process. The other part of it has to do with your process. So you got your messaging, and then you got your method, and that's where I think we do it wrong a lot of times. I would ask you to give a slight refocus and use your mass media, whatever you're doing for marketing for mass media, whether it's YouTube ads, radio ads, TV ads, newspaper, whatever the mass media, social media, whatever, boosted posts, that type of thing. Use that as not just a way to get them into your business, but actually a way to, maybe they don't want to come into your business yet. That's okay. Don't be offended by that.
Right.
Get them into your area where you can nurture them. And by that, I mean, like, get them into your email circle, your text messaging circle. So give them something to get them, just to get their contact info. You know, there's companies that are losing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and yet they're worth multi-billions because they have an amazing contact list. And you're like, no, there isn't. Yeah, it's called Chewy.com. I'll call them right. I'll call them right out right now.
Right out.
They lose money year after year, and yet they got bought out before, you know, and shoot, they're worth billions. So there is something to be said about that. That's my point. Don't always just try to sell them something. Get them into your little circle and grow that circle, and then just nurture them. And you're building your authority and how much they like you.
And I think, you know, some would say, well, aren't you just talking about marketing here? And you're using, to your point, there are tools, methods to do, but when you talk about nurturing and the ability that a small business owner has to nurture that relationship and think of their customers as friends, neighbors, you know, local businesses, people that you work with, that's a whole different way of approaching this. Then your messaging changes because you're seeing them differently. Right. And then, yeah, you may, to your point, then you're going to use some of the traditional, you're going to use Facebook and you're going to use, you know, mass media, whatever it is. but it's the messaging that changed because of your focus on nurturing, right?
Right. Because all of a sudden, your goal isn't just to grow revenue with them. Your goal is to grow your little greenhouse area, and they're a little plant, they're a little seedling. So put them in your greenhouse. Don't just pound them with water and expect them to survive out in the harsh sun. No, get them in the greenhouse, like this harsh sun here in Florida.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of mesmerizing. You've got a very large beach ball that keeps floating across the pool and back.
That's my head.
Well, your head's not as transparent as that ball is that's floating. Or maybe it is. I don't know.
Yes, but is it as empty? That's my question, Mike. Be kind. Remember, you're my therapist.
Yeah.
So anyways, and you start doing these 100K, very easy, very, very easy. You will be shocked and incredibly motivated by the change that you see.
So if someone's trying to do this and they're like, "Hey, I need some help," I mean, how can you help, Ryan, in your business? How do you help business owners actually do this?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's similar to like what you do, Mike. And that's the first thing. Listen, there's a lot of areas that we can tackle. First of all, I'm going to ask you, what is top of mind for you? Because if it's top of mind for something that's top of mind for me may not be the same for you. And we need to tackle what's top of mind for you. Is it your employee issue? Is it the fact that you can't get them galvanized and accountable and rowing in the same direction? Is it the fact that you don't have a plan? Maybe that's it. But the fact is, or maybe, man, revenue's dropping off the cliff. We're seeing that things are getting tougher and this and that. What can we do to right the ship? It is very important to not just come in with preconceived notions of here's what we're going to do, here's the book, and slam them down with the book. No, it really is, well, what's top of mind for you? Because we can handle any of these things, but let's get the good ones handled first for you, and then we can dig in deeper. And that's worked out well for the clients that I've worked with, because if you want to go with something that isn't top of mind for you, you're going to be distracted, and we don't want that. We don't want that. We want it to be fun. We want it to give you a quick ROI and then keep us moving in the right direction.
Right. Well, this has been fantastic, Brian. I love the balance of inside, outside, building on coworker team first, then yourself. But I also like your idea of, hey, if I come in and start talking to a business owner and they say, hey, I want to do this, you could say, hey, let's start with the market. Let's start with stop marketing and doing the nurturing. Then let's go back to the team. Over time, my expectation would be is you'd like to see all 5 of these things happening within the business. But the process and the prioritization of each of the different areas may change based on what the needs of the business are at that time.
Yeah, over time you will be doing all 5 of those.
Yes.
And it'll become so easy. You'll be like, wait, we're not doing this. No, you are. You're doing it all together into one cohesive system. But we got to break that system apart and focus in, like sniper focus on it. And then once we do that, then we can expand our view. And that really, really works out good and keeps everybody going in the right direction. So this is So
awesome. Well, where do I sign, Brian? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Hey, it's all e-docs now. No, there's no signatures. We do a virtual handshake, and that's all good. That absolutely, because we're all in it together. So yeah,
exactly.
But this is great. And Mike, we're gonna be seeing each other face to face. And so this is recorded beginning of August. Next week is the Ace Hardware Convention in Chicago, Illinois. And you're actually going to be there, aren't you?
I am going to drive down. I'm lucky. I'm only about 2.5 hours away on a good day. from McCormick Place. So yeah, we're gonna connect. I think the last time you and I connected was Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would have been fall of 23, maybe. I bet.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
Coming on. So yeah, we're
We gotta
looking
stop
forward
that.
to that. Yeah. Yeah. We got to do this more often, and I'm looking forward to it. That's gonna be a great time. I'm gonna give you a heads up. Tuesday night, I'm doing you would call it a pub crawl, but it's not a pub crawl. It's a restaurant crawl. I had AI design the top 5 restaurants to go to walking distance from our hotel, and we're going to do a different topic for each restaurant that we're going to, and it's already laid it out for me, and so we're looking forward to that. That's going to be great.
When you said pub crawl, I'm like, okay, I'm not driving down to hang out with a hungover Brian on Wednesday.
No. I might be cramped up from all the walking and stuff, and I'll be carved up maybe, So it's going to be
awesome,
a good
Brian.
time.
Well, I appreciate your flexibility and jumping on, a couple podcasts here when you're down in Florida with your family. So this has been awesome.
Well, I appreciate your attention, knowing that I had a 36-inch beach ball floating behind me that was distracting you the whole time.
I was zoning on that, and I remember, oh, wait a minute, I've got something to do here.
I got to
ask some questions.
I got to focus on the other hot air.